Hey, how's it going? Decided to have a change of scenery. Where I used to, originally, that's where I started doing my videos, was in here, my bathroom. So, I have some cards. I wanted 3, and I was laying them out, and I got 2 that were stuck together, so there's 4. This might be a long one. Okay, the first one is it's the Starseed Oracle deck is what I'm using. So the first card is Weight of the World. And I'm going to read from the booklet, so I'm not going to give the subtitles right now. But here is what the card looks like. So that person is very nearly submerged, and it looks like I'm not sure, like, is there a storm? Was there a storm? There's something happening with the air and the water that looks unsettled. But it is reminiscent of drowning, kind of, or it doesn't look that distressed, to be honest. Because really, when I hear Weight of the World, I think, this expression looks kind of blissed out. I would think that, like, when I think of the weight of the world on my neck or shoulders or whatever, that's not a Zen feeling, generally. So, well, let's consult the manual. Weight of the World. I marked the pages ahead of time, so I'm not spending a year and a day looking for them. Okay, so here are the subtitles. Boundaries, let it go, it's not yours to carry. Well, yeah, because if it's the whole world's weight, you're not the whole world, you're you. Why do you think you have to do everything? Why do you have to make it all about you? You don't have to do it all. Cracking myself up, sorry. Okay. Oh, dang. Excuse me. Ow. There's a sink right there. Was this the next one? I think so. Pardon? Okay, so boundaries, let it go, it's not yours to carry, are the subtitles. And here's the text. You don't need to carry it all. You're no good to anyone if you're running on empty and bogged down by the weight of the world. This card is a reminder to look after your own well-being before anyone else's, to stop carrying the world's problems on your shoulders, to put on your oxygen mask first. If you've been watching for a while, you know I've used that analogy many times. In these changing times, it's hard not to feel overwhelmed by the state of the planet. However, you can't take on its problems from a place of energetic depletion. You can't take on a work day hardly from a place of energetic depletion. This card is thanking you for caring so much. You want to build a better world and ease the road for others. That's true. I do want to do that. And that's incredible. But the way you've been doing so is likely unsustainable. This isn't to say you should switch off to the world's problems and become unconscious. Rather, it's a call to establish clear boundaries so you're not constantly taken out energetically. The planet needs you to be healthy, both physically and emotionally. Okay, now you're putting the world back on people's shoulders. The whole world needs stuff from me? That's kind of a lot. But okay, I'll try. So instead of digesting the news or reaching for your phone as soon as you wake up, show up first to a nourishing practice, such as meditation, soul inquiry, asking yourself a deep question and deep thinking about it. Where did I leave off? Deep breathing or exercising in nature. Once you're in a state of grace and your inner well is full, you can face the day, the state of the world, and care for others. And at the day's end, take an energetic shower by emptying out anything that's not yours to carry. You can pick it up again the next morning if you so choose, but give yourself time and space to rejuvenate and rest. It's like a rest your mind situation with this card, you know. And I'm sure you know. I think if you're watching this, you know. Okay, so the next card is Big Picture Thinking. Here is the card's appearance. So, okay, it's interesting to me that there's like it isn't doing this, but it's got a reflecting pool element kind of happening here. Not sure what this is reflecting. It seems to be like hills and stuff in the sky or on the ceiling, I suppose was what I was going to say. Let me look at that more closely. No, it's a pool of liquid water, I guess, but I don't know if it's liquid. Liquid ammonia, it could be. I don't think I've been here. But like a lot of these cards have a portal. So there it is. There's the doorway with a shaft of light coming through, or yeah, I feel like it's coming out of the portal. The portals, you know, particularly with this deck and this card right now, are like, they're each, if you're on like the side of the portal where you have not stepped through, you know some things, right? And generally, to me, if you're about to step through a portal, the things you know, you've come to the end of what you can learn about them. And so it's time to graduate, to like elevate your knowledge. And so the portal represents like stepping up a level and, yeah, stepping up a level. So let's see what the book says about big picture thinking. So the subtitles are Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. The Pleiadians are cosmic cousins. Every time I say that way, Pleiadians, I swear it does something. It makes something start vibrating, like kind of in my ears a little bit, but also in here. And if I repeat it a lot, like Buddhist chanting, it does it more intensely. It's very strange. I didn't realize, is that like a mantra? Like, what's happening there? I don't even know. Anyway, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. The Pleiadians are our cosmic cousins. They're here to remind us that it's never too late to learn newer things and change the future. You're being called to be a visionary for the planet. To take a breath, shake off what you've been taught about the world, and hold a new vision for humanity. You're likely a natural big picture thinker, here to generate ideas for the future, here to birth a new age and dream a new world into being. The future will be woven by dream makers like you, by those with enough courage to question the way things have been and envision new possibilities for the planet. The world needs more artists, dreamers, inventors, and visionary thinkers. Perhaps you've had an idea recently that you've been called to usher in. If so, this card is your confirmation that it's divinely guided. So I was thinking about this big picture thinking topic, I guess, and how it's talking about the paragraph I just read where creatives need to envision new possibilities for the planet and the societies that the people are in. And so for a while, before COVID even, I started thinking about things like, it wasn't like I came up with it deliberately on purpose, because it just wouldn't make sense to. But here's what I started thinking about. I started thinking about a place where the people who work like harvesting food, who are usually Latino, could be like do that work if they wanted to continue to do it, but make it like less grueling, and it would be akin to like paying a teacher what they're worth, because I don't know, I guess people think if you're like crawling around on the ground like harvesting food, that's nothing, and it's like, bitch, you better wake up. That person is toiling. Like, you go try to do it if you think it's so menial and like low. That is like a terrible thing. Like, I don't know. Stay on track. So what I was envisioning, I guess at the time there was some sort of immigration push, and it would have been ICE, because definitely ICE was in the conversation at the time, but it was still like, well, if it was ICE, it was ICE. But what came before ICE was immigration and customs. So ICE. But they didn't have to have the enforcement and like the whatever they got going on now. But it was problematic, and a lot of Latinos were having problems. And this is what's also weird, is that what I was thinking of is not like where a field would traditionally be. And I thought about why that was too, because when I started thinking about this, it was like 2015. So like a long time ago. And the thought is to bring the fields indoors for like either hydroponic or not, like just even still dirt. But in order to make it easier for these people that have worked so freaking hard, and there's hazards to being outdoors too, and so in an indoor covered, air conditioned controlled environment, it'd just be healthier for them to be able to work, and like whatever long hours, that's something that would have to be worked out another time, because I think what it kind of depends on is what you need to do on the plant's time. So hours, I think, are really fluid, but I'm just guessing. I don't know that for sure. But anyway, in a controlled environment, it can be any time of day in any type of weather, and so output is probably going to be better because it's not going to be under attack by so many like pests and weather and drought or what have you. And so the facility for the growing would obviously have to be pretty huge, but indoors, and then like raised up off the ground so that people are not like hunchbacks and things, and on-site childcare and school and even housing if they want, like just like a village of these people, not like exclusively for them, like in the same structures you could have retail, and that could be like anybody's deal, but it would also be like a better sourcing thing for any area, like it's not like you could like do lobster. I don't know, maybe you could, I don't really know, but there's a lot you could do, especially produce-wise. Like, meat is pretty close if you wanted. Like, I don't know why you would import, like, chicken and beef if you have places that are near you that do it. Like, why? Oh, I guess, the people that want to profit want that, I'm just going to say, want that shit everywhere so they can just make the money. And no, like, it's just better for the consumer. Any consumer, including the consumer that owns the thing in question. It's better if it's fresher. Less, likelihood for disease or something, or other transport, atmosphere failure and stuff rots or trains flip, like whatever it is. It's just easier to bring it close to home. So, and I've had other thoughts like that, but okay, so what they are is, and this is inspired by something that already exists, but it could be in addition to, and that is like, what do they call them? Like the earth something homes, and it's all the people that live out in the desert, and I presume you have to have money and be able to buy property and materials and all of this stuff, but it's like a colony of people that use recyclable materials and old, sort of outdated techniques for creating airflow and air conditioning and cooling and like gravity toilets, and but it's like very luxurious, and they have like right in their house, which is big, their produce growing because they're in the desert, so kind of not ideal for a lot of food that you want to eat, like it'll just get roasted to death. So they've brought it indoors, and it's like you're right next to the nature, like it's in the house with you. And I think that's very cool. And so the other thing that I was thinking of, and I don't know if I was thinking of it first, like just had some inspiration about it, or I saw it somewhere. And because this is the thing, the other type of housing that could go along with this, and having to do also with like the close sourcing of your food and like making like the work less horrible, like you actually want to go do your tedious job, it could just be so much more gratifying if it's not so hard, and you have to, like, travel is a bitch, And normally a lot of these people that would be harvesting, from what I've seen in the reporting, they have terrible housing options. They are given like shacks that are like equipment sheds more than housing, and they don't have plumbing, and there's like living camping all the time, and the rest of the time you're working your ass off. And I was like, that's insane. It doesn't have to be that way. So the cities have been talked about recently, and I forget what they call them, but they're like little sort of villages, I think, and they're self-sustained, like I was talking about with the farming and the meatmanship. But right now they're being talked about in a very negative way in the news. It's just sort of like I feel like it's a alternative to cities, like mini cities, where they have like all of the stuff, but they're not gigantic, and so like access to stuff is stretched or difficult. It's like little self-sustainable islands, not small. Obviously, this would be like hundreds of thousands of people, and they would have to be constructed, but that's great because you could use like all kinds of modern construction techniques. And so, but the way it's being described now, it's sounding like prison camps for like inconvenient poors or something. Or like, I don't know if you've noticed, but the government and all of the like wealthy people like sort of pushing reality around and shaping it to their liking, and just completely ignoring the Constitution and the laws, and just breaking laws and doing whatever. But if we poors do something wrong, like if you don't have 9 zeros behind your surname in your bank account, then if you do something wrong, you're in trouble. But if you're rich as F, you can do whatever, I guess. But that times may be changing. And so the reason why I'm optimistic about these sort of housing islands that right now sound really terrible. And something else too. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So almost at the same time that I'm hearing all this negative stuff about these, they're like projections as far as I know. I don't think any of that stuff's been built yet, because if it's not a prison, they're not really in a hurry to build housing for the poor. So, I'm hoping there's time, but at the same time I'm hearing that, on the news, I'm watching my, ET channels, and they're talking about something that sounds, identical, but it's not meant to imprison you or impair you. It's it has the potential to be what those Earth homes in the dead. Earth home is not the name. I forget. It's Earth something. Or it's Earthship. So the Earthships. Oh, sorry. The Earthship communities are very, Earth friendly. They're built with trash, basically, refuse, and they're beautiful. Their designers and the architects and the people that live there and the whole community. I think when someone new moves in, everybody contributes, everyone helps, because it is a major deal. You have to do things to the earth, just like a regular house. I mean, it is a house. It's slightly irregular. But alongside those cities, these other ones I'm talking about, similar deal, with populations very much integrated into each other's everything, living and eating, and I don't know how communal it is. I'm sure there's some of that nature, but everyone totally has their own home, so... but I mean, it's like the Amish when they all come together and slap a barn up real quick. That is a good aesthetic, and I think we should move toward it. So anyway, what I'm trying to get to is that, yes, the ETs were talking about something that sounded very similar, except it didn't have the prison vibe, And it matches what I was thinking about, where it was healthy, self-sustaining, this is better than what we've had. This is what we want. More work and different, but things change, and you may not be ready, but too bad, because if it's going, it's gone. So yeah, big picture thinking. Yeah, I mean, we do have this time right now where, well, let me just move on with the cards. Okay, so the next one is, that's the last one. You come here. The next one is Messenger. And what do we got here? Well, we got an angel with a portal head, it looks like. And some sort of orbit halo, planetary orbit halo. There's a very glowing face and neck situation. Hold on. I don't have my indicator. Don't fall. It's gonna fall. Sit there for a second. God, you don't even want to, please? Thank you. So, I'm sorry, but are those not hands and arms and shoulders wearing a dress? A dress kind of situation. And then, I mean, no neck if that's the bright, bright, bright face. Where is this the head? It's very confusing. And there's that halo business I was talking about. Look at that. I know that's some kind of pareidolia going on too, but am I crazy? And the clouds are kind of too abstract to be wings, but what the heck am I talking about too abstract? This person has light for a face. Okay, so, Messenger. Messenger, I typically associate, I was raised Catholic, so I've had a lot of stories about angelic visitations, and they are difficult to look at, apparently. And I know that, when I get close to spirit or an angel, I just start to cry, and they talk about that a lot in the biblical stories where the angel appears and the people drop to their knees overwhelmed and start weeping. And the angel, the angel always says, "Oh, my child, don't fear. Have no fear. Where's your faith? Have faith." I'm just teasing. Okay, let's find Messenger and consult the manual. Let's see what we're talking about here. Okay, so the subtitles on Messenger are "Serious Energy, Bringing Harmony and Balance." Well, that is sure what we need. Here in the United States, and also I guess wherever we are, because we're causing a problem. It seems like in a lot of locations. Oh my. We really got to work on that. That's not neighborly. Okay, you're part of the lineage of souls who have dedicated their lifetimes to the upliftment of the planet. Up with the people. To returning time and again to see the light. SEED, like a seed you're going to plant. The crystalline ones, the ones who are here to plant the sacredness of life back in. Yeah, we need help with that too, because we've lost the track. To honor both the sacred, feminine, and masculine. To usher deep reverence back in. Okay, so real quick, or regular speed. This just said to usher deep reverence back in. So, for a while, I was following this channel, or I still follow him, but I was watching this channel called Hucolo TV, Human Colony. And there are a bunch of, psychics, I guess. Because a lot of people on there can just bust out with the light language. And I guess they channel as well, but they have a main channeler named Jim Charles. And he just seems like such a sweetheart, but he often channels the biblical figure Elijah. And so I just really click with what Elijah is saying. And one thing he's been saying for a while is that we're not paying attention, we're forgetting spirit completely, because there's a lot of atheists, and they don't necessarily, I guess they're the ones that are God doesn't exist or whatever, because they don't believe in religion, but they know a lot about it, and they're very close to it. So they, I think, understand someone like me who's was raised Catholic, and when you're in it from the time you're a little kid, you don't understand anything. There's all this stuff being said to you and things happening that are just above your pay grade, but you get ingrained with all this stuff and you learn all these things. But if you're like me and you question everything every minute, you get older and you start learning more about things, what was on, everything discovered at Nag Hammadi, for one thing. That is a place in the Middle East. I'm not exactly sure of the location. Look it up. Anyway, there's the discoveries there were lost and banned gospels, or actually what they were gospels and things like that were banned by the Vatican and the church. And then some priest or whoever, clergy figure, decided there's value to this, I'm gonna hide it and keep it for later. Because a lot of these people also had sentient abilities, and so they, because of the stuff found in Nag Hammadi, knew a future was coming where all of this stuff would be appreciated. once it's known, still questioned all of this stuff, still banned. So, but I think things are changing enough now. And I have also been hearing like younger people are like going to the church, which is weird because the church was just dying and no one was going. And it does have the problem of the touchy-feely papists, or priests, sorry. Like they really got to deal with that. And other, like the church has its problems too. But the church is not spirit. You know, and it's not like these figures that it holds up and talks about and writes about and has all these scholars going on and on about. It's not that they're like gone. If you're open to it, you can access those things. Like, I like to listen to Jim Channel, Elijah, and other people ask the questions. I just like to hear what he has to say. But I have been noticing, like I just watched a couple of videos where today it was like an American woman was in France in a park just sitting on a bench, and this guy that had like a black helmet and a black visor and something around his neck and like this military looking coat and gloves. I think it's spring there too, or summer or whatever, and he's on a bicycle. And he's following this woman around, and I guess she sat down on a bench or whatever, and he just parked like really close to her, was just facing right at her astride this bike, and just looming over her, and she was like, "Get away from me," or like, "What do you want?" Like, what? Like, over and over, and he would just go, she'd go, "Go away, get away from me," and he'd go, "Uh-huh." And the narrator of the video pointed out his eyes did look kind of crazy. And then yesterday, I was watching Europeans like freaking out about American food and like, you know, Walmart and stuff. And this guy was in, I think, Atlanta, Georgia, and he was in a park. Oh, he was South African, that's right. Because the World Cup is here. That's why there are like Europeans. Just for context, in case it's not World Cup week when you see this, or however long it lasts, I don't know. Anyway, the South African guy is walking in the park in Atlanta, and he's like, "I see all these women walking alone." Like, I saw another guy, I don't know where he was from anymore, but he was like, "They walk around at night unaccompanied." Okay, so that's not the safest, actually, but we do it. But this guy is like, it's daytime. He's like, even in the daytime, it is not safe and they just have expensive purses and sunglasses and phones, and you can't walk outside with that stuff in South Africa. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? That's insane. I'm going to have to look into that because I have some ideas about what the problems might be that cause that kind of thing. But anyway, that's disturbing. So it was not happening where these people were in America, but look, if you're American, you know there are plenty of times where people get robbed and messed with and molested and all kinds of stuff. But I guess it's as crazy as I was thinking it has gotten. I guess it's crazier elsewhere. But what I feel like is driving this is kind of connected to what Elijah was saying, is that we're not paying attention to spirit and like the tenets of like spirit and Christ. Like, look up Christ. Don't, for God's sake, don't get your information from a church. Look it up online. You'll be surprised how much you will learn that actually folds right into what you have learned from the church people. And it's probably more accurate because it's been hidden for thousands of years and nobody could edit it and fuck with it. So, if you lose that connection with spirit, then I feel like you are bait, basically, for anything evil or ill-intentioned that, like a demonic oppression is the easy first way, the go-to for acting uncharacteristically insane. But I have been watching our country in the United States for so many years now, and thinking the mass shootings and just like the rises and falls in the murder rate and the kidnappings and all of the terrible crimes that have just been happening here and everywhere for like ever, but it just feels like everything's so intensified. And I have thought over and over, I swear to God, this just looks like people are possessed by demons. That UFC spastastica on the White House the other day with the fighting on the lawn, and then the people so being drawn to watching people beat the crap out of each other and raising it up like it's this fine athleticism or something. Sorry, that's not what it feels like looking at it. I like athleticism, and I like watching fit men do martial arts or whatever, or have like fist fights in movies. I don't want to see it for real. I don't want to see a real guy getting his face punched into mush. That's gross. And what is wrong with you? Why do you want to see the human form get just destroyed? That just seems wrong to me. But that's just me. So yeah, I just can't help feeling like the two sort of are like the loss of paying attention to spirit. And paying attention to spirit is actually pretty fulfilling, and it's not all about praying to God, I need this and my life is so terrible. I like in the morning every day, like the other card was saying, I have to admit I've been forgetting to do it in the morning, but still at some point in the day I speak to spirit. And have you ever thought, of course it's there, like things that we can't explain happen, and it's not a science thing, and it can't be like debunked. What do you think that is? What do you think is the force that causes that to happen? What do you think is the force that, you're late and you got to get into a place for like a job interview, and it's very important that you are at this job interview and you can't see anywhere to park, and you're like, oh God, please help me have a parking space, and then one opens up. What do you think that is? What do you think it is when someone is like about to die in the hospital and they have a spontaneous healing and they're like magically cancer free and live like a long life after that? What do you think that is? Like, what do you think a coincidence is? Like, all of that stuff can be it's attributable to some form of spirit in your life helping you. Like, that's what that is. Sorry. And that ain't religion. Like, what I just said, I don't think any of that sounds like any kind of religion you ever had. So, that. So, to continue, many ascended masters are thought to be connected to the energy of Sirius. Often appearing as a shade of blue, they hold the frequency of pure love and are here to help the masculine and feminine exist in harmony, to ensure greater balance, to help us see that we're all connected and that the masculine and feminine energies exist within us all. You have to interrupt myself again and say, okay, we got some masculine and feminine energy that's like divided and needs some serious intervention. There are a couple of podcasters that are like you'd know their names, and they have terrible things to say about women, and one in particular has no experience with them in a relationship, so he makes terrible comments about stuff that he knows, like has admitted that this has not happened to me, so I'm talking out of my neck. But the thing is, it's like, bro, you're not mad at women, you're mad at the woman part inside of you that you are like afraid of, ignoring. Like, I don't know what's going on inside of these incels, but Get mad at the women that you have that have never met you. That's a problem, bro. And it's your problem. It's a you problem. Like, you really got to take us on a case to case basis. Like, some of us are horrible. Maybe even the ways that, like, you guys are just dreaming up some crazy shit about us. But it could be a thing that's real. I don't know. I haven't lived every life. I don't know. But I think, again, the problem is not outside of you. It's not us. It's not outside of you at all. It's in you. You're unsettled. Every angry word, every hateful word you say, you think you're spitting it out at someone, but you're leaving a residue and an aftertaste that's going to slide right back down your throat and deep into your body and make you mean and bitter. So, just a thought. More thoughts about it. So, it's not easy, and it won't be easy for someone like that. Although, maybe it would, because they seem so wound up. It would be like the kind of thing where one little love gets into a crack and makes them, like, I see them, like, just falling apart in tears, because it's hard to maintain all that hate and anger, especially when it's all manufactured in you. Like, you're generating all this energy to to spew all this nastiness, and it's like the nastiness is literally coming from you. And that's the type of self-awareness exercise that you have to take with yourself. Like, you have to confront yourself with the most humiliating and the most ugly and the most scary things to work that stuff out, and to be vulnerable with yourself, which would be very, divine feminine within a person. So, yeah, okay. You're being called to bring about this balance and harmony between masculine and feminine, to be a guardian of harmony and balance on Earth. Think of the whales traveling around the globe, sharing love through their healing vibrational song. So, we talked about that a lot too, about the whales and their subaural, we can't hear them consciously. There's stuff above our hearing and below it that we can't perceive consciously, but it's still going in our ears, and especially it's all vibrational, so it's always doing something when it enters you. So, that's interesting, right? You're being called to bring about this balance and harmony between the masculine and feminine, to be a guardian of harmony and balance on Earth. Think of the whales traveling around the globe, sharing love through their healing vibrational song. Their unique notes send balance and harmony to every corner of the planet. A rebalancing of the masculine and feminine is occurring worldwide. It's a resurgence of the sacred within us all, a returning of the sacred union within, a kindling of heaven and earth. You can begin a rekindling of heaven and earth. You can begin to bring harmony and balance by creating it in your own life. The ripples will flow from there. You can honor and balance the sacred masculine and feminine energies within yourself and others. And when they say within yourself and others, I don't know that they mean for you to go up and start trying to be some kind of minister. I think when spiritual things, channels and whatever, talk about something like that, they mean to demonstrate rather than lecture or something. So, okay. Last card is wait. Okay, space is weird. I don't know, what kind of axis is happening there. But this is the card right way up, so I mean, I guess I just really want to consider this posture. She's in space. She's in her night clothes, so she's dreaming. But why? I don't know. Although, you know, when you're watching one of these shows, sci-fi shows, and they're in space, you can like walk on the ceiling. In fact, I'm thinking of Enterprise, the Star Trek show with Bakula, and Scott Bakula's the Captain Archer, and there's an enemy on that show, and it's called the Xindi. Is that the ones I'm thinking of? But they are like, they can bend their bone. They're shapeshifters, and they're like chameleons too. So they're like really creepy, and they can do like, you know, like body contortion, the actor, and then they have them like crawling on the ceiling and stuff, and so it looks, you know how television can do. They can make it look pretty normal for some dude to be crawling up the wall way up there. And that's what this makes me think of. I don't know what kind of protection she's in, but she's got them wall crawling skills. Okay, so that is not the place. Where is it? Here it is. Wait, here's the subtitles. It's not yet time. Wait. Things are being woven. Wait till that's done. Don't be impatient. Please tell me that again, because it's really hard getting it to sink in. I know it's virtuous to be patient, but I guess I'm just a heathen with no values because I'm so impatient. Okay, here we go. In our fast, loud, reactive, comparative world, where an instant response is so often expected and at times even a currency, it can feel almost impossible to take a breath, let alone give ourselves the space to rest, wait, and reset. Woo, that was a long sentence. We're so often in overdrive, expecting instantaneous results over and over again, and when guidance doesn't come at these extreme speeds, it can feel as though something's gone wrong. But often, not receiving guidance is guidance in itself. I've often said something similar. If you ask someone and they don't answer you, that non-answer is an answer. Yes, I've had that situation. That's why I'm talking about shut up. Okay. When you ask for guidance and you don't receive it, it can often mean wait, it's not yet time. I'm just going to show you this. The details are being woven. In case you're thick, the details are being woven. It's like, so, our challenge is to keep trusting when on the surface it appears that nothing is happening. To remember that no matter how long or bitter the winter, spring always does come. Does always come. To remember that you don't need to solve all of the world's problems in a single day. That's more weight of the world stuff, you know? It's not all about you. Only your life is all about you. And I know this sounds crazy because a lot of people love to have something to say to a stranger about how they're living and how the stranger feels it can be improved or something. It's like nobody asked you for your input though. See, like this would be a nice thing for you to say if I had asked for your opinion, and often you just get it. Whether you like it or not. And that has got to go. That whole whether you like it or not, that's got to get the hell out of here. That has no place in the world. Our challenge is to keep trusting when on the surface it appears nothing is happening. To remember that no matter how long or bitter the winter, spring does always come. To remember that you don't need to solve all the world's problems in a single day, and that perhaps they'll be better solved with some perspective and a good night's sleep. This card is your permission to slip, slow down, switch off, I don't know if you want to slip, because that has a kind of negative meaning in certain circles, in recovery circles. Wink. To slip, to slow down, switch off, and rest. You're being reminded to have patience and trust the mystery of life. To trust that things are being woven on your behalf. It may not be happening to the timeline you'd like, but if you gather up the patience, it will be orchestrated better than you can ever imagine. And I think that's true. Sometimes usually when you ask for something or you want something or you pray, however you, ask, if you get it back, it's not necessarily going to come in the time frame that you want it to. Don't even expect for that. And then the other thing is, don't expect it to look the way you imagine it to, or the way you have described it to yourself and others. I don't know if it was coming that way and you changed it by talking about it, but I do know that if you don't stop talking about it and just shut up and wait, basically, sorry to phrase it that way, but you confuse the issue and make things take longer, or confuse it so much by saying things about it so much and making so many changes that it just isn't going to get done because it got too complicated. You got to kind of keep it simple. And so, what the hell did I start talking about that before? I love when I start talking about something, and then by the end of the sentence, I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. Anyway, this was for your entertainment, just in case you were wondering, YouTube. We do on time. That's enough. Thank you and good night.